This half of the classroom.
Hi guys.
You'll
Yay.
get your teams next week. I'll kind of leave it out here, I guess, pointed this way for a little bit. Well, these stands don't work very well. Maybe there. Let me hit OK. Can't put it on the center of the room. Here, I'll at least put it to this side so you can kind of see a little bit. All right. I gave him a sort of the brief overview what was on Ripen when you gave it to me. I know we talked yesterday some more, but yeah, take it away. We got till 11:30 when I got to hop on with Ripen, so take it away.
Okay. Well, hello guys. I am Tamisha Thomas. We've got Morgan the Mogul over here with Black Ike's Designs. We work with small businesses, nonprofits, anyone in the churches, civic organizations, groups inside of the community to be able to make marketing affordable. What we do is we are working on a project where we're bringing collaboratives together, artists together, and we're being able to satisfy changing the face of the stereotypical images when it comes to seeing images of African Americans in our community. We are currently working with a client right now, Communiversity, and our goal with Communiversity is to be able to take webinars that champion the work of workers' justice and turn it into social media content. Now, the problem that we face as artists in the community is everybody wants to be a Steven Spielberg, but they don't have that big budget. And so you'll have small organizations who've never been on the internet before, or OTT, or television. Once they get approached by people like me and Morgan, all of a sudden they turn into A-list celebrities looking for the next big A-list movie. And so we want to meet client expectations. We want to be able to make sure that we give a quality product. But we don't have those $1 million cameras. We don't have those key grips that can do lighting at $1 million a pop. We do have heart. We do have stories to tell. And we want to be able to do that without spending hours and hours and hours in front of a computer, making their realities and making their dreams and making their stories look like they came from some Hollywood studio. And so that is the problem that we're trying to solve. How do you have artists like myself, like Morgan, like the other artists we want to attract, be able to tell the story of small organizations, nonprofits, civic groups, social groups, and the work that they're doing, which is a lot of that work is climate justice work. A lot of that work is advocating for workers' rights. A lot of that work is advocating for women's rights. How do we tell their story without the huge cost of the cameras that it takes to tell those stories, that the lights that it takes to tell those stories, the skilled cameramen, and all the things required to that goes into a production. So we say that we can do that through the process of AI. Um, and so that is what we are doing in this space, is making it affordable for small businesses to come into a space of digital storytelling. Morgan, would you like to add anything to this?
Yeah, sure. Just to kind of, bring this home and make it personal. Um, yes, we're helping out a local business and things like that. However, if have paid any attention to the trends and in AI and things like that, then you know that the creative part is being moved away from Hollywood, is being moved away from big Marvel type of studios, and the next content creators, the next movies, the next TV shows, the next all of those types of things are going to come from people just like you and I, right? How many of you have ever watched a TikTok video or something and you're like, man, that's really cool. I wonder how they did it. Or, you saw a movie or you read a book and you're like, I wish this ending was different, or I wish this part was different. And so now with AI, it's the turn of the creative, it's the turn of the individual person to actually be able to create and see the content that they want to be able to put out there. So much so that I think even Netflix has a category like it's something like being able to like watch videos on your phone and still keep up with the movie. Like there's a new category. I want you to like think about that, right? People content on your phone, you're watching that more than you're watching TV or movies. And now all of those big studios are competing against the guy who made a 15-second TikTok, right? So the future of content is not with Netflix or with Marvel Studios or anything like that. The future of content will be with the user, with the creator. And so I think we're going to start seeing a lot of smaller, videos and series coming out from everyday people. And so this project not only helps, organizations like Common University, but from a personal note, this is the kind of stuff that businesses are going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for as we kind of move forward into this AI space. I cannot hear you, Tamisha.
Shafia is there. Shafia, would you like to come in and say something about Communiversity and what you're doing as an organization and how we are assisting you on this project?
Thank you, Tamisha and Morgan. Even more thank yous to the students of there in Champlain College. I'm kind of looking at an empty chair and the side of, there y'all go. Okay. I can see you a little bit.
There's more.
Okay, got you. How you doing? So my name is Shafia Mbalia. I am director of the Communiversity, which is a community popular education project that was designed and is being designed and was developed by Black Workers for Justice, and is as an independent community education resource. We are workers, we are former workers, retired workers. We are folks who were postal workers, factory workers, med techs, city workers, the folks who make the city run. And what we have done is that we have had over the years a number of what we call worker schools. And we are finding that folks' thirst for knowledge, doesn't stop when they leave high school. And what we want to do is to use that thirst for knowledge as a way to provide more information, particularly back to folks about the strategies, the organizing they've done in the communities and at the workplace. As I think I was hearing and read with Morgan and Tamisha, and they've kind of helped to put our experiences in media form, in short form. And the experiences that we've had as workers organizing on the job for better conditions and is something that is lost. It's not normally recognized. It's not viewed as really intellectual property to be studied and lifted up. And what you would be doing is helping folks relay their experiences and put them in short form so that they can be given back to folks about the strategies that they have used to better their lives and better the lives of their community and coworkers. So one example of this, for example, is during the pandemic, there were folks who are essential workers and were forced to work during the pandemic. And it was so widespread, and many people did not have protective equipment. And so the Southern Workers Assembly, which works together with workers across the South, came up with a campaign called Save Lives, Safe Jobs, Save Lives. And what it was about was urging employers to have protective equipment for folks who had to work. And it was merely a sticker campaign, right? And so folks who were in meatpacking plants, in mental hospitals, who were working on recycling trucks, all wore stickers that said to their bosses, "We need protective equipment." And then they tailored that, and this happened all across North Carolina, parts of Virginia, parts of Georgia. And what folks did was then they tailored that to their specific workplace, to their particular boss, and said, you know, we need these kind of equipment in order to be safe to carry out our job functions. And so that's the type of organizing that was going on. Well, you know, most folks think that that's like minor, you know, but that was a campaign across the South. That was something coordinated, unified, productive, just a little thing that folks did across the South and built their unity. And so we want to take a campaign like that or something like that, talk to workers, put those in individual TikTok, individual Instagram, and folks talk about their experiences. What's it like to be on a job at a meatpacking plant where you have to do 90 seconds or do 90 pieces of slashes of cutting up meat for people to eat per minute? What does that do to your body? What does that do? So when you get together and you go to the boss and say, we need protective equipment, we need safe equipment, especially with folks working so close together with each other because they're shoulder to shoulder. What does that mean? What kind of equipment do we need? And so the workers got together and, you know, they came up with what that was. Well, we want to talk about that. We want to talk about how folks were out in the heat. What kind of equipment do you need when you're out in 100 degrees? Then you got to wear protective equipment to keep you safe with your coworkers, but also safe from the heat, but safe from the dirt, the grit, the that you got to deal with every day. And so that's the kind of project that we do. We also have a library that we are reopening. 2,500 books so far have been donated to the community. And we want to open that up and make it accessible. And we want to tell people about it. And it specializes in things like struggles for folks around the world to make life better for themselves. So it includes not only folks across the South, but it includes folks in the Middle East, folks in the South, folks in Latin America, folks around the world who have worked together to better the conditions. Its focus is also on women and the issues that women workers have. So that's the kind of thing we do. We're doing a webinar series focusing around Black women workers. And then we would take the webinar series and cut them up and then produce them on TikTok and Instagram. And in those ways that folks now are used to watching, and they'll hear, you know, hear you talking, hear Tamisha, hear Morgan, hear your coworker, your student, right? Talk about what the things that they have learned. And that's just an example of the kind of things that we do, working together with TMT and other communities and unions and organizations across the South. So that's who we are. And I've been rushing and making all kind of mistakes and using wrong words, but that's who I am. That's who we are. And thank you so much for having me. I don't know if we got time for question and answer, Q&A. We love it.
Can you see the house? This is the house that Shafi has donated for the project. It's called Communiversity. It sits in Rocky Mount. It has over 2,500 books. We will have an open house this spring, a fundraiser this fall to kick off this work. And so the webinar series will help, like you said, lift up this work, tell these stories. And the reason it's so important because it is history. And if it's lost with the generation that actually did these phenomenal things, which was help to unionize a lot of these spaces where people were in, these were tactics that were utilized to go in, negotiate with the employers to make these conditions better. And so now there's going to be a house that houses these artifacts, and you will be responsible for helping us promote this house as a community resource center. Here it is on the screen. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And the books that she's speaking of, we're currently organizing them. They're shelving books about the Southern labor movement and taking those real stories from those people and making it social media content, making it fun, making it trending, appealing to a new generation so that these stories aren't lost.
So if I can just throw out to you, and we're going to add to this is the archive room, where we have what historians call prime source material. We didn't know what we had, and then we brought some historians in, some librarians in, some archivists in, and they just got all excited. And I want you to know that it goes from like 80s through the early 2000s so far, mid 2000s. And we also include, we send folks out to and studied with folks who were part of the Occupy movement, who went out and were part of Black Lives Matter and were part of Ferguson. So we know what those struggles are about. We know what we also trying to do is show how, before there was Ferguson, there were other struggles that happened and that are directly tied. And so we're going to add to this website also photographs of the archives that we have, that are the actual documentation that workers have of the work that they have done in their communities, in little teeny tiny communities, population 700, population 2,500, population 5,000, and folks getting together and really trying to, change their conditions, work together. So we are really appreciative of the role that you would play with us, and we want to stay in touch. We want to include all the folks who have been a part of this as, like our connections with the rest of the world and the rest of your part of the world. We're not too far from, the kind of things that young people are doing. And we want to lift that up and show the connections between generations so that what I was able to do in learning from, elders who were teaching me is I can pass on, what I've learned and pass it to you. So I just wanted to throw that out, Tamisha, lift that up for everyone.
Thank you. And this is history in the making, guys. This project actually registers attendees. It registers attendees for a webinar. It sends follow-up emails. It publishes content to YouTube. It repurposes content into short clips, and it tracks performance. We will use tools via APIs, the N8N.O Munch AI. So we're going to use a bunch of tools, and we'll connect to the API to be able to make this process easier for designers like Morgan and myself, such that clients like Communiversity can get what they need to tell their story. And you guys are going to be a big part of the process of having us figure this out. Week one, we just kind of pulled it together and kind of gave you the tools that we're currently working on. Well, week one to be discovering and planning, where you'll actually go through, ClickUp. I'm actually in the software that we will be using. This is how we communicate our assignments to you. And you'll discover these tools. You'll go through and you'll see exactly the tools we're using. High Level is a very robust marketing platform with an API, and a majority of this work starts with a work order that comes from High Level. So you'll learn how to solve this real problem that you may currently face in the workplace as you move forward in your career. So this will give you an opportunity to have a strong portfolio so that when you go into an employer in the future to talk about what you've done, you will have a sample of your work to say, hey, we figured this out for a real client. And if I figured this out for them, I can figure this out for you. And so this is that's the benefit in it for you, because this is something that many organizations are figuring out right now. How do we leverage AI to stay in the marketplace? Toys R Us is gone because they knew not how to not appeal to anyone other than the people that's coming in shopping in their stores. Well, now you can sit on your sofa and get anything you want, and I do mean anything. And so, how do we apply that to our industry? So this is the project, and so at this point, I want to open up any questions that you may have based upon what you've heard presented today.
And if you have a question, would you say your name and either what year you're in? I'd really love to connect up individually.
Can you say a little bit more though, first about the or show like kind of what High Level and ClickUp kind of look like? I can show them a little bit more later, but yeah, just kind of give an overview of like this flow and the tech stack sort of thing.
Okay, so the data flow, what's important is how does the data flow? We get data, and up until Morgan and I came to this position, Communiversity was doing Zooms, and the data set in Zoom. So our thing is, okay, well, if the data is sitting in Zoom, who sees it? So we've got to move that data to places where consumers go, because nobody's going into her Zoom account to see exactly what went on in the webinar if they were not present for the webinar. So we've got to move that data from wherever it's sitting to a place where high traffic, where people can see it. So the data flow is we capture the data. With Communiversity, they're capturing the data in Zoom. Then from there, we've got to edit that data. So we've got to take that data. Usually we take it into YouTube, because YouTube is a great place to store data because it's long, short form, and it's free. And so we move that data from Zoom to YouTube, and then from YouTube to a place where we can edit. If we use Kapwing or services like that, all we have to do is move that URL address, and the data transfers over to Kapwing. And Kapwing, that's a software that allows us to do B-roll a whole lot easier, and it allows us to be able to make the video more engaging. Sometimes we take it into a place that also munches it down from long form video to small snippets of 15 to 20 seconds based upon topics. So it'll be moved, we will move the data from place to place to place through AI, so that one, we don't have to download the data on the computer of the creative, because when you do that, you've got to come back in and clean that data up for the next project, because your computer does not have an unlimited amount of data. So the one benefit of this process is that we don't have to store data on our end. Another point of this process, it makes it a whole lot faster, and the AI is doing the edits, and saves us time. So then after that, we take it into distribution. We want to take that data from a place that doesn't receive traffic and put it in a place that does receive traffic. And then we want to monetize the video in such a way where we are going to make that video count for us monetarily wise, or we want to be able to draw enough or raise enough awareness with that video that people are going to come out, see us, or take the next step in our funnel. And so that's what this project is basically doing, is taking data that was pretty much stored sitting on the shelf and putting it into high traffic areas, and or monetizing it, or whatever the data is going to do to raise awareness to get us to the next stage of a funnel. And so that is the the objective of this project, we can do more than just do webinars. We can do all kinds of content, which would be actually triggered by a work order. So when a customer comes in, they don't have to call me anymore and say, hey, Tamisha, I need this, this, and this. And then I got to take notes and I got to write this down and I got to put it in the system and I got to put a work order in. We're taking this right into the hands of the consumer, where I drop them a link and they fill out exactly what they want. They pay a price, and then all of a sudden they got data sitting somewhere within a matter of minutes. The one of the things that you will use will be high level. That is a huge part of what we're doing. And here, if you will stick in videos that you will have access to.
Hey guys, it's Charlie, and in today's video, I'll
the 22-minute video about high level. It tells you exactly what the software can do. It is a power robust software. It creates landing pages. It does QR codes. It does scheduling. It creates contacts. You can actually call your contacts from there. It actually creates widgets on a website such that you can leave text messages and it comes directly to my phone. So this software is in such high demand that if you know how to use the software, you're instantly in that marketing space whereby those marketers are making $70,000, $80,000 a year. I just had a student this summer, high school. I showed his work to the agency that brought him to me. They had someone who wanted to hire him on instantly for the work that he did with our organization. So this skill set of marketing is high demand because it is a creative demand. It is all companies need it. That did change since COVID, because it used to be that only advertising agencies did this type of work. Post-COVID, every company knows that they have to have a marketing department because they have to stay in business. So you will learn those tools if you're not familiar with them in this particular project. And this truly will enhance the skill set in a real world application of how you use AI to be able to improve workplace.
So within the ClickUp, there's also additional folders about project plan, and in there is a little bit more detail
and these
about.
can be things like
Do you want to go?
No, go ahead. No, it's too long.
About kind of a breakdown of like what exactly we're looking for in terms of social media, different audiences. There's also things in there about frequency, and I have in there examples, videos. I have a 14-week kind of syllabus breakdown to kind of give you an idea of what we're kind of looking to do. And so what we're trying to do is have you guys learn these types of things, but also it's a skill stack. So we'll be using software like Tamisha said, of Go High Level, Airtable, N8N, if you guys are familiar with that. That is the primary automation software that I use. If you're familiar with like Make.com or like Zapier, it's along those lines, except it's a little more robust. It allows you to run JavaScript. I think they're adding Python and things like that. For AI images and video generator, we're using Key AI. I heard you guys were using Claude, which is fine. I do find Claude a little bit better for coding type of things. But also OpenAI, I use OpenRouter, and the No Code Architects Toolkit, which runs FFmpeg from the Google Cloud server. And so we'll go over and we'll talk about a lot of these things, because again, all of these tools, all of these stacks are industry standard, or ways or hacks that I've learned over the years in order to get client projects done. So when we were told very specifically that you needed a real world project, I guarantee you that this is your real world project and you'll be able to use this for anything going forward. I do have a bunch of videos in there for you guys to kind of watch and start getting the idea and hang of things. So yeah, do you guys, have any questions?
We'll have to hop over to Ripen in a second, but what I'll say is I'll show them whenever this is done, I'll show them what ClickUp looks like, and then the students who end up on the team, you'll get access to ClickUp, and you'll be able to see these videos that kind of give you context for what the data flow is, the AI automation stuff. They've started sort of a requirements document that
Right.
says here's what some of the features are we want built in, those tasks we had assigned. So you'll see I'll show you like a little brief preview of it towards the end of the class today. But those who get added to the team for this particular project will get deeper explanation into this specific tech stack that they're using. But
Okay.
I think we'll have to stop there because we got to hop over to the other one. But thank you all for explaining the context and the sort of we'll call it. You're kind of the client, but there's this sub client too, right? The Communiversity that's kind of one of the people that would be utilizing this platform to take long form and transcripts and webinars and spit it out to all types of other media platforms. So.
Yep.
But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I'll be in
Thank you.
touch with
Tamisha.
team members and stuff that might work on this project in the next day or two.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Okay.
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 Oh, you're trying to stop recording? Do I
Yeah.
hit the stop button?
Yeah, hit the stop button.